out for him. He'll probably pop in for a couple minutes at least.
Yeah. All right. But anyways, we are live now. Canes pick up a big, not a big win, but a nice win tonight, 48-7 over Bethune Cookman. Welcome everybody to Miami Postgame Live at the Voice of College Football. Not really too much to take away from this one, considering it's Bethune Cookman. But something good is that we are 3-0 for the first time since 2020. So hooray to that!
I'm still going to stomp my feet and cry that they gave up the shutout with a minute 19 left.
Yeah, I was watching that from the car on the way home from the stadium, and I was just like, come on, man, we at least had to get the shutout over these guys, but whatever, it's fine. People will still complain about the fact that we only scored 48 and the sky is falling and the season's coming apart, but we put up 34 in the first half. Really should have been 41 if Colby didn't fumble on the goal line. But
yeah,
that third quarter, we were saying this in the back room, that third quarter went by quick.
It did.
I think they just instituted a running clock, and the refs were like, let's just try to get out of here. This is over.
Well, and I've heard they've done that in previous years. In this game, I know for a fact they did it one year against Charleston Southern, and there may be some other examples of it. They absolutely just went to a running clock in the second half. I guess it's almost like college football's version of a slaughter rule or whatever.
Yeah, because you can't really call the game. It's not like when IMG is up 96-0. You can't just stop a game at halftime, but you can definitely institute that running clock and just get it over with faster. But even then, there's some things I like from tonight. Even against the Bethune Cookman, we were pretty aggressive, I'd say, throwing the ball, which is sort of the Shannon Dawson staple. In the first half, TVD, 19-23, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns. Restrepo had himself another game, 6 receptions or 120 yards. Don Chaney looked really good. After everything he's been through with the injuries and not really being able to play these last 2 years, for him to go out there and get 7 carries for 73 yards and do it in the way he did, where he was just barreling through defenders. That's what he was advertised to do at a high school, where he's got the quickness, but not so much the speed. But he has also it's almost like Willis McGahee in a way, where he has that big body and he sort of can just run people over, but he also has some speed to him.
Yeah, well, I'm old enough to remember when he played in 2020 and he looked absolutely amazing. And listen, when that guy gets into, open field after he breaks a couple of tackles, he's got a 6th gear he can drop it into.
Yeah, and even in the start of 2021, before he tore the ACL, I think, in that game against Appalachian State, he was looking really good that game.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Don Chaney fan. I have been since the first time he suited up and got on the field for us, and I'm glad to see him working himself back into the rotation.
Yeah, I know I saw some people complaining, why isn't he running back 1? But you also have to remember this guy hasn't played for 2 years, so you're not really going to get him in there too much in those first 2 games, and especially against a team like Texas A&M, where you'd rather more rely on sort of a Henry Parrish, or even maybe a Mark Fletcher. They were starting to rely on him a little bit, even though he's a freshman, but he at least played competitive ball and played against Miami, Ohio a lot in that first game and looked good. But today was just a good game where we went in there, we did what we were supposed to do. It was pretty vanilla, a lot of screens, just runs up the middle. Showed a little bit with the deep passing game, but nothing we haven't already shown against Texas A&M. And then the most important thing was there was really no injuries. I don't think there was any injuries, unlike last week where we lost Dean, Mesidor, Kinchins, and Nigel Kelly, which neither played tonight. And I don't think Mark Fletcher didn't play tonight either, which is the right call. It's Bethune Cookman. We could have beaten these guys with the third stringers.
Yeah, and there's really going to be no need for them next week either, to be perfectly honest with you.
Temple's not a good football team.
But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of enjoying, because this is something that I like to see an offense do, and I've been harping on for years now on YouTube. I don't mind the short and intermediate pass game and
Mhm.
guys, turning a 5 to 10 yard pass into another 20 or 30 yards afterwards. I love yak yards. To me, that is the sign of an elite team.
Yeah, I mean, last game against Texas A&M, we had 240 yards after the catch.
Yes.
I mean, I like the running game. I've always been a fan of sort of like Michigan these last few years, where they can just like pummel you with the run game and put up 40 points like that. The way they've just sort of like beaten Ohio State like that. But I'm more of a fan of just do whatever gets you the win. Week 1, we ran for 250 yards, beat down on Miami, Ohio. Last week, we threw for almost 400. And I said it last week, but it's that versatility which I enjoy very much with Shannon Dawson. And I'm not freaking out too much over the 48 points because, like I said, we put up 34 in the first half and scored on every drive, except for one where Kobe Young fumbled literally on the 1-inch line. So, it's
he
not
took
like
a shot though, so I'm not going to take his lunch money for that.
Yeah. I mean, that I'm surprised that was not called targeting, and a lot of people were too. Because to me, that was clear targeting.
It looked like it to me.
But whatever. I'm not gonna get too rowdy about targeting against Bethune Cookman. Like, come on, like, what are we doing here?
Well, and Cam brought this point up the other night, and it just seems to be the way that it goes for whatever reason. I think he said we went on like a 1.5 year run where a hold didn't get called on Miami. And you basically saw the same thing out of Alabama, where they basically went 2 full seasons and didn't get a single hold called against them. So, I mean, either one. You want to tell me Alabama didn't hold for 2 years or nobody held a Miami player for 1.5 years? I don't think so.
I mean, there was holding on damn near every play against Texas A&M, but Jimbo wanted to talk about when they paint the field and you have two teams playing on the same surface, it makes it slippery. And that's why Anais Smith slipped, because the field was slippery, and it's whatever. Jimbo's a clown. The Dolphins haven't played there since week 1 of the preseason.
I'm about to say he does realize that the Dolphins play on Sunday, right? So that might be a problem for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and also they haven't played there since week 1 of the preseason, so it hasn't been an issue. It's just been us at that stadium.
Well, that's the way they do it. With both of us playing at that stadium, like if we play a home game there, the Dolphins are away that week most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, to avoid something like that, and also like just help out the grounds crew.
Exactly.
But
and then half the field was dry. Don't forget it rained, but only half the field was dry.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. We're not going to talk too much about Jimbo's clown ass. I mean, he's been making those comments all week. Whether it's the snap, whether it's like they got our snap count. They were clapping, and if you watch the video of the play, he's like they were doing it all game, and it's like no, and it happened on one play. Like Cam brought this up, it happened on one play, and it was James Williams trying to get Jaden Davis's attention, just being like, hey.
Even if it's the case, so
it's not illegal.
I mean, he is really that's Ryan Day level and Shane Beamer level excuse making. I mean, kind of like when Shane Beamer come out after that North Carolina game and said the only thing that went wrong was the chain crew eating hot dogs and they were late coming back from halftime. It's like, Shane, y'all still got the short kick. So what exactly are you complaining about?
Yeah, maybe fix your garbage ass offensive line, bro.
Ooh, I got a friend that's a North Carolina fan, and boy, he was happy after that first week, and then he got brought back to reality against App State.
I've been saying it all offseason. North Carolina, to me, they're going 7-5. I think they're in for that type of season. Their offensive line is not that good. Their defense looked way better than it actually is against South Carolina, which, you know what, you're going to go look good when you're playing against that offensive line and you get that much pressure and that many sacks against that quarterback and they can't do anything. And it wasn't even
9 sacks.
Yeah, I mean, but whatever. Just some notes from tonight. We already touched on TVD. I thought the defense early looked a little bit suspect against that run game, which was pretty weird to see after we sort of held Texas A&M in check last week, but they sealed it up. It became less of a problem over the course of the game. And then in the second half, we saw Emory Williams, not Jakari Brown, for the second game in a row of this type. Which, yeah, it's kind of weird what's going on with Jakari, the fact that we haven't seen him in the field at all. I know they're trying to redshirt him, but you get 4 games.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the stream started too. I'm really curious as to what's going on there because okay, you can still play 4 games if you're redshirting, and this is absolutely the type of game that you put somebody into, especially somebody that's trying to improve their passing ability, because that was the whole point with Jakari, because we saw him last year, and it's kind of a typical thing with these dual threat quarterbacks that they're just not the greatest passers. And great that he recognized it, wanted a red shirt and improve it, but there's no experience like game experience, even against Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, but
I'd put him in the game.
I mean, you weren't there, but before the season, they held an open scrimmage to the public at Hard Rock Stadium. I don't know if you were aware of that.
Yeah.
And obviously, Jakari Brown played in that scrimmage, and I was there. He still, even in like a practice setting, did not look comfortable in the pocket, did not seem to have his footwork down. He really wanted to scramble, but he couldn't. And when you took away, because, it's a scrimmage.
Right.
But when they took that away, he just didn't seem confident. He had a lot of overthrows. He had a lot of inaccurate passes. So it seems like that accuracy is still an issue, which, like Emory played tonight and, he made some freshman mistakes. I think he got sacked at one point, kind of threw some balls into coverage. But other than that, he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
He overthrew Riley Williams by like 6 inches, and it would have been a touchdown. But again, whatever, it's a freshman. So I really think they're banking on Emory, which he does seem to have it so far. He looked good against Miami, Ohio. He looked good tonight. He has great zip on the ball. He's pretty accurate. Obviously, just as a freshman, he has to work on getting adjusted to the speed of the college level,
Right.
as well as the decision-making aspect. And, I was also looking at my phone as we're speaking on quarterbacks. Tyler, he's at his presser, and he said he thinks he's the best he's ever been right now, which, hey, it's pretty hard to argue when you throw for 250 yards in the first half and you only have 4 incompletions, 2 of which were drops.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Young dropped a clean ball on a deep route, and then he also had one broken up in the end zone, which he could have come up with. But I'm not going to put that one too much on him because he was falling back, like double covered, and they also there was a little bit of hand fighting going on. So that one, not so much, but it was a very catchable ball. So, yeah,
Well, you can look at this, and this is not like these drop balls. These are not Mark Pope, D. Wiggins kind of drop balls that we have been used to seeing over the past couple of years.
Yeah, Jacoby George has been looking good. I don't think he has a drop. No, he dropped the touchdown last week, but outside of that, he's been solid. Solid as always. I don't really think I've ever seen X drop the ball.
Now, maybe you can help me with this because I've been hearing this all over the internet. Where are people coming up with this fairy tale that Tyler Van Dyke is staring down receivers?
I don't know. He does definitely seem to kind of know before the snap where he's going. But I think in this Shannon Dawson offense, it's because the plays are so well drawn up that it's we kind of just know oh yeah, against this look, it's going to be open. And also he has the freedom to check and change plays at the line. He did it last week against Texas A&M. He said it where he's yeah, there was some plays I was let's go vertical on this one. I'm looking at the defense. I checked into some run plays and changed it up when we were supposed to be passing. So I feel it's not so much that he's staring down because let's be honest, if he was staring down, he'd have a lot more balls picked off than he already does.
Yeah.
He has 1 pick this year, and it's because, again, I said it on that stream, it was a simple fixable mistake where he just didn't see the corner in the flat drifting back up the field.
Well, he doesn't have a whole lot of lateral head movement, but And now, granted, okay, I've got a huge HD TV, but when they're showing shots of him drop back in the pocket, you can see his eyes scanning from one side of the field to the other.
I mean, I feel like it was more of a problem last year, because people were also bringing it up last year, where he kind of had a tendency to sort of like just go to his first read and kind of stare down a little bit. But I don't feel like it's much of a problem this year. Otherwise, it would have shown up against Texas A&M last week. Like, let's just be completely honest with the speed and how talented that secondary is. Like,
Yeah.
if he was legitimately staring down receivers, like they would have capitalized on that. Like,
Yeah, and I mean, listen, they all know that X is going to be his first read because he has such a rapport with him, but you're still not able to do anything about it.
yeah, but even then, like he's able to spread the ball well. Like Jacoby George had 5 catches tonight. Colby Young had 5 catches.
Yeah,
X had 6. Brashard had 3.
Well, that they made a point mentioning it during the broadcast. That first drive, he went 5 for 5 to 5 different receivers.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fine to have a guy that it's your go-to, but it's another thing if he was only trying to force it to Xavier Restrepo.
Yeah, and that's my point. I don't think he is, and I honestly don't see him staring down receivers.
Yeah, and also, like, I don't have a problem if Restrepo's his first read because he's been so reliable and so good.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like,
guess what?
if
Charleston Rambo was his first read too, for a reason.
yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, like Matt Stafford's first read was always Calvin Johnson, and it's like, yeah, it's Calvin Johnson. You're not gonna look to him first.
I'm gonna worry if you don't.
Yeah, like that's a problem if you don't. And I'm not saying, before someone takes me out of context here, I'm not saving Xavier Restrepo as Megatron. I'm not, but he is the most reliable and consistent receiver on this team, and the other guys are really consistent too. But when you pair that consistency with the rapport and the relationship that they have, why shouldn't he look there first?
If I had to make a comparison to somebody else, Restrepo is to us what Ladd McConkey is to Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is. There are a lot of parallels there that you can draw.
Good route runner, quickness, always gets yards after catch and fights hard for every yard. Yeah, I can see it.
And both of them were short little pinballs that are going to bounce off of everything.
They're just like annoying little pricks. You're just like, how does he keep doing this?
And yeah, and like you said, there's just nothing.
It's like Hunter Renfrow. It's like, how is this dude so good?
There you go. There's another one, Hunter Renfrow. You know, another.
He's a gym rat.
I heard somebody make this comparison, and to me, Restrepo's even better because he gets way more yards after contact than Braxton Berrios.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could see it. Like, I don't think ESPN shows it, but I want to show how many yards after catch Restrepo had. Because he had a lot last week, and he broke some tackles and made some guys miss, and he had a lot of yards after catch this week and made some guys miss.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think right now this team, I think this was genuinely the perfect game, and really the next perfect 2 games to have after that Texas A&M, where, especially with the injuries we suffered, you know, we're not going to need Cam against Temple. Like, let's be honest. Temple went, 3-9 last year? And a lot of that team is still coming back. And it's like, yeah, they're bringing a lot of the team back. And it's like, if you bring back a lot from a 3-9 team, is that really saying much? Like, let's be honest here. And then we have the bye week. And then we get into ACC play, which is a step up in competition. But it's not such a high step up because it's Georgia Tech. And I think Georgia Tech is going to be better this year. And I think, honestly, maybe they could even make a bowl game. Maybe.
I hope not, because I have a bet out that they don't.
But I think Georgia Tech is around a 5-7-ish team this year, and what really kills them is that Georgia game. I mean, I think they went 5-7 last year, didn't they?
They did. Now, I'm trying to think of a nice way to put this. They're not the only ones that fired a coach and you saw kind of a bump out of the team. You saw the same thing after literally the very next game after Nebraska fired Scott Frost. So I think there's some of that to it. I'm not saying Brent Key is a bad coach. Brent Key is a completely unproven coach, and it's going to take time.
He's better than Jeff Collins. I mean, you or me are better than Jeff Collins.
I'll take Jeff Collins' paycheck, and I'll certainly try. But
4 verticals on every play.
Hey, and listen, Georgia Tech, and I watched the Louisville game. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the SC State game. But there's a couple of Georgia Tech YouTubers I follow. Their defense is worse. The offense is not going to have problems. Now, I'm trying not to take too much away from week one. Their offense does look better. Now, granted, they do have an upgrade from Jeff Sims to Haynes King.
Once again, I think you and me could be better than Jeff Sims.
I actually
at least not turn the ball. At least not turn over the ball as much as he does. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, listen, I thought Jeff Sims was pretty good. I think it did hurt him when Jahmyr Gibbs transferred to Alabama, obviously. I'm wanting to say that Georgia Tech's offense is better, but really and truly we'll find that out Saturday. I mean, I'm not saying that Ole Miss, as far as their defense, is a world beater, but that's probably the best defense that Georgia Tech's seen all season.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see them. I mean, we were going over it last week. I mean, it's sort of the perfect, like I was just saying now also, it's the perfect setup where we have these two sort of cupcake games, and I actually don't mind that the Temple game's on the road.
I do. Wait a minute. I do. Power 5 teams.
I'm saying just because we get at least some travel in. I'm not saying.
And I get that, but just this is a general blanket rule for all of college football, in my opinion. Power 5 teams should not be going on the road to Group of 5 teams.
Yeah, why is Alabama playing at USF this weekend?
I mean, we did the same thing. What are we doing going to Boone, North Carolina?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that game. They really thought they were going to beat us, and then Amon Richards housed it on the first play. Was it Amon Richards or Mark Wall? I know someone housed it. I'll go back and watch the highlights later. That was a fun game.
Yeah. But that's why, to me, you can go back to even then. That's why, to me, I'm having fun watching this offensive line because Brad Kaya still got sacked like 40 times that year.
I think he's still getting sacked right now, actually.
He might be.
Yeah.
I mean, and everybody said he should have stayed in college, but when you got sacked almost 150 times in 3 years, I understand why you left.
Yeah, and Mark brings this up now, and I've already also brought this up. I mean, the only reason we're going up to freaking Temple is because we stole Manny Diaz after he'd been there for like 2 weeks, and I think we just gave them this as a consolation prize. Like, all right, okay, fine, whatever. We'll play you on the road in 2023. Yeah, Manny will see you on the road in 2023. Which, hey, at least he's in the state of Pennsylvania. We'll say that.
Hey, I got to give him credit, though. That Penn State defense looking pretty good. That's another one I've got for this weekend as well is that
just wait till his linebacker evaluation kicks in. That's all I'll say.
Well, listen, I mean, say what you want about the guys that he recruited. Listen, a couple of them are still there and have looked better this season. I mean, is it his fault that they came in and had multiple severe injuries? And some guys just don't look the same after those injuries.
Yeah, but also it's like we shouldn't be starting like that caliber of linebacker at the University of Miami. That's the whole problem. It was the caliber that we were recruiting and then the guys that we were ignoring. Like,
and listen, I think Cam even falls into this. I don't care necessarily about your star rating. Yes, it matters. The teams with the most 4 and 5 stars win. the national titles most of the time, but I mean, there are literally multiple stories on all 132 or three, however many there is, teams across the nation of, hey, nobody wanted this guy, and he's an absolute gem.
Yeah, but that's more so the exception than the rule, really. Because it's like
it is, but there's multiple of them on every team in America. So is it really the exception?
Yeah, but you're not gonna build your team around just hoping that this 3-star pans out. I mean, hey, I love Inez Cooper, and he's a 3-star, and he's developed really well. But like, that's not really gonna be the norm. It's gonna be much more likely that talented high 4-star or 5-star, which speaking of, like, we got a 5-star commit today. Like, it's much more likely that 5-star from a power high school program that's already been sort of in college level training, you get more out of him than the 3-star linebacker or the 3-star defensive lineman.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that to completely write off that 3-star guy, I don't agree with that either.
Oh no, I'm not saying write him off, but when those are the guys, the problem with Manny was when those are the guys that you're mainly going after, that's the problem. It's like the 3-stars should not be headlining your linebacker room outside of those exceptions where it's like you got the 2 5-stars and then the 3-star that overperformed. You get me? Like, that's sort of the problem.
Sure.
Like I don't think from 2019 to 2021 we got a single high-rated linebacker. I think they were all 3-stars, maybe low-rated 4-stars, and just guys that really didn't have the size that you'd expect out of a linebacker room from the University of Miami, which, hey, even when we were down, we had good linebackers. Like, you just think to Denzel Perryman, or we at least had linebackers with size and athleticism. That's sort of where that problem came from.
Something he did, too, was also he's going after a smaller linebacker, remember, because he had that linebacker, outside linebacker kind of safety hybrid. So you're not going to go after a bigger guy, obviously, because you're not going to drop your prototypical linebacker into coverage.
Yeah, I guess, but still, it's just better to see that already through the transfer portal and through recruiting that linebacker room has gotten significantly better. With, for example, Francisco Mauigoa, he forced a big fumble today when Bethune-Cookman was driving to score. And he showed out last week. He showed out in week 1. Wesley Bethanth has been awesome. KJ Cloyd has made good plays in spots. And, a guy that a lot of people ragged on, who is one of these 3-stars, Corey Flagg. He's been playing a lot better. He had the big tackle for loss last week. I don't know if he made too many plays this week, but, he's already looking a little bit better this season. Just going back to some other stuff. One thing, this is a concern. How do you feel about the tight ends? Because so far through 3 games, we haven't been seeing these tight ends get involved too much. Cam McCormick, 1 catch for 8 yards. Jaleel Skinner, in garbage time, he had 1 catch for 9. I think as the season goes along, I love Cam McCormick as a run blocker. He's absolutely elite at that. But I think we're definitely going to have to get them more involved in sort of the passing game.
Oh, I completely agree. I think with what they have to work with, though, like you said, McCormick is just much better in the run game. It almost comes across to me like they're waiting on Arroyo to get healthy.
Yeah, because once again, he didn't play tonight either.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm a big fan of using your tight ends, and I think you're absolutely going to need them against the Clemsons of the world, against the Florida States of the world, North Carolina as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of confused on what to make of what they're doing with this.
I think it might also be. Hopefully, it's the Arroyo thing, and he's backed by Georgia Tech, even though we could probably be fine against Georgia Tech without him.
I mean,
But
even if that's the case, though, that's a problem.
yeah,
That means that Arroyo is the only tight end on the roster with any pass catching ability.
yeah.
Or at least consistent pass catching ability.
I mean, it's also going to be a problem when the defense sees Cam McCormick lined up, and they're just going to be like, it's probably a run play.
Didn't we pick up a 4-star tight end? He should be a true freshman right now.
Yeah, we have Elijah Lofton, and then there's another one that tonight dropped us in his top 5 or whatever. Tavion Galloway.
No, I'm talking about that they brought in this previous recruiting class.
Yeah, Riley Williams. He played a little bit tonight, but again, that's a freshman. Do you really want to go out there and trust a freshman? And like, tonight they tried to go to him a little bit, but Emory overthrew him. But I get why last week he wasn't in the game as much.
Well, yeah, I understand that, and honestly, with A&M's, with the personnel that they have in their front 7, I would much rather have that extra blocker and big body up there anyway. And that's exactly what McCormick is. That's a big body to put up there and put in the way.
Yeah, and even then, like we've already seen from Cam a little bit, he can catch the ball. It's not like he's a liability in the pass game. I would just like to see him get more involved.
Yes, me too.
If I have one gripe with this offense, it's sort of that. And people have brought it up.
They've forgotten about the tight end spot.
Yeah, and we've seen it with Georgia. We've seen it with Michigan, Ohio State, even. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's been pretty good these last few years. Not on a Brock Bowers sort of level, but a nice consistent option in the passing game. You need those tight ends, not just in the run blocking, which, thank you, Cam McCormick, for coming here and being elite as you are. But and I don't think it's on him, but we definitely do need to go to these tight ends yet. Tight ends more. I just don't feel like through 3 games there's really been a need for it. But in the season, like I'm not crazy when I say this, like there's gonna come a moment where you need those tight ends to step up in sort of the passing game.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm more than a little confused by what's going on with this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's really my only gripe because we've been running the ball well. Not as much last week, but again, we didn't really need to when TVD was popping off how he did. And
well, you still had 100 yards on the ground.
No, we only had like 77.
I thought it was 97.
No. Yeah, it was only like 77 for like 3 yards per carry. But even then, like we still broke off some nice runs. Henry Parrish had a few nice runs. AJ Allen had some nice runs. And again, this is just credit to Shannon Dawson. He saw, hey, they can't cover these receivers right now.
But he didn't get away from the run, which is definitely a mistake that I think Gaddis made last year. Was okay, we couldn't run the ball against A&M, so we're just going to have
500 yards against North Carolina.
Yeah, we're going to have Tyler sling it 40, 50 times a game, and I
even Rhett Lashley a little bit did that. There was a few games where Rhett Lashley because Rhett Lashley could never really run the ball outside of like maybe that UAB game and a few other instances.
The offensive line was not good. I mean, Derek King was able to match some of that with his athletic ability, and that is the advantage to a dual threat quarterback is he can hide some deficiencies on your offensive line. But like I was saying, I don't think, even if it's not working, I don't think you need to abandon the run because look what happened last week. Guys were still able to pop off a few good runs. So Texas A&M could not sell out on the pass because they still had to respect the run game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like even though, like you were saying, like even though we weren't running the ball well, like you still have to do that. You still have to incorporate the run game because if not, they're just going to absolutely key in on the pass.
Yeah, and as the season goes on, I'd like to see this run game get more consistent. And then you can absolutely get very Tom Brady-esque with it and start working in a whole lot more play action and throw defenses off their rhythm.
I mean, hey, I don't really see any games that should give us trouble with the run game creeping up until Clemson. Maybe North Carolina a little bit, but I think we should be able to run the ball pretty well against Georgia Tech. Should absolutely be able to run the ball against Temple.
We should absolutely be able to run it against North Carolina. App
Yeah.
State. I get it that North Carolina's defense looked like the '85 Bears against South Carolina. They fooled us all. South Carolina
Not
is
me.
just that bad.
I knew it. I knew watching. I had my college football group chat with a few of my buddies that I'm in, and they were like, "Hey, North Carolina's defense looks good. It looks improved." And I was like, "No, this is the outlier here. This is not going to be they're going to regress back to the mean. This isn't going to be what they actually look like."
Well, when I say fooled us, I don't think anybody expected South Carolina's offensive line to be that bad.
Yeah, I certainly didn't. I picked South Carolina to win that game.
Yeah, so it 9 sacks. I get it. They look the '85 Bears, 2000 Ravens. Insert whatever great defense you want to. App State flipped the script and pulled that sheet off and was like, no, they're not that good.
Now, man, I wish App State beat them though. I wish they beat them though.
No, I don't. I want everybody we play. I want them to win.
For the funny of it. That's why. Just there's a little part. There's a part of me that wanted the funny of it to happen.
Listen, I fall in a lot of trash talk circles when it comes to college football on YouTube, and I would have had material for the whole season if that would have happened.
That would have. I think it kind of did already knock him a bit out of the Heisman race, but Drake May, his Heisman chances would have been 0 if they lost that game.
Well, here's the thing, though. Unless you're a top 10 team, your Heisman chances are 0 anyway.
Yeah, but there was still some decent expectations for. I think there was still some decent expectations for North Carolina to be 9-3 this year, which I think is crazy.
I mean, I don't think it's crazy. I think their offense can carry them to a lot. I mean, look at every team Lincoln Riley's been the head coach of. I mean, it'll only carry you so far, but it can carry you to a lot.
I just don't think it could carry them to 9-3. I think their defense is that bad.
I mean, it did it last year.
Yeah, and then he fell apart at the end of the season.
Yeah, he did kind of go on a skid there to end his 2022 campaign.
Yeah.
I actually think I'm looking forward to that game. What, we in 3 weeks away from that one?
Yeah, we got that stupid bye week in the middle.
Well, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
Actually, we're 4 weeks away because Georgia Tech's before that, and then the bye week, and then Temple.
Oh, that's right. So, okay. So 3 games, 4 weeks.
Yep. I just want to beat them. I'm just so sick because the ways they've beaten us is just, I mean, 2019 with the missed field goal with Sam Howell, and then they ran for like 20,000 yards, and then 2021 with Tyler as a young buck and Manny's defense couldn't stop a leak. And then last year where we almost had them, and we only held them to 24 points, but we held them to 27. But Josh Gaddis's offense was so bad that we only scored 24 points on that team. And I think even Rooster had like a fumble in the red zone after picking up like a 4th and 1. That whole game was just heart-wrenching.
By the way, Rooster has 2 fumbles through 2 weeks.
Death taxes and Jalen Knight and fumbling. I mean, I loved him as a recruit, and I loved him for a long time while he was here. But man, he has to secure the ball, bro.
This ain't.
I think he lost us.
Everybody gets their guys that they like, but I was always higher on Don Chaney Jr.
Oh no, me too. But like, I really liked Rooster. And like, he could have been really good, but like, I think he kind of lost us that Duke game because what did he have 3 fumbles? I mean, everyone talks about it. It's like they got blown out by Duke, and it's like, yeah, because our running back fumbled 3 times, and we also fumbled on a
Well,
kickoff. Of course, you're
we
gonna get
had
like 45 points.
8 total turnovers in that game. I mean, that'll sink anybody's ship.
Yeah, and then Tyler also got injured in the first half, and we had
He fumbled when he got injured.
We had Slinging Jake out here, who's now the 3rd stringer on Missouri.
And listen, I don't think Jake Garcia is a bad quarterback. I think that with Jake, and I got to see it firsthand when I was at the Clemson game, he either wants the home run ball or nothing at all.
I mean, he definitely had potential. He was a highly touted quarterback recruit. I just wonder what sort of went wrong there.
So was Tate Martell once upon a time.
Shout out Kiki. Oh, God. Tate Martell. Remember when we all thought he'd be something?
Well, everybody was looking at it like, well, Joe Burrow transferred out of Ohio State, and he was pretty good.
Yeah. Wish we would have gotten Jalen Hurts. Nah, that would have been a crime. That would have been, no, I'm glad Jalen Hurts went to Oklahoma. We would have done him so dirty with Dan Enos. And that offensive line with Zion Nelson as a true freshman at like 240 pounds soaking wet.
You know, here's the thing, and you can point to mistakes all of them made, Gaddis, Enos, whoever, but at some point, the common denominator there is Miami. Dan Enos has had success everywhere he's been before and after Miami.
Where's he at now? I know he's at Maryland.
He was at Maryland. He's back at Arkansas.
Hey, I'll say this, though. Yeah, he's at Arkansas. Josh Gaddis' offense is not looking too hot through the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. And listen, I know there's a lot of people that think, you just make apologies for Gaddis. No, I've pointed out plenty that Gaddis did wrong, but there's plenty that Gaddis didn't do wrong too.
Yeah, he only scored 38 against Towson, which is not good, and then also 38 against Maryland. But they should pick up another win this week against Virginia, and then maybe even Michigan State. They could start 4-0, easy. Actually, 5-0 because then they got Indiana. Wow, this is an easy first half of the schedule until Ohio State in Week 5. Shout out to the Fighting Mark Rogers of Ohio State.
Hey, at least they finally decided who their quarterback is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious when I saw that dude running out there with 33. I think that immediately disqualifies him as being a starting quarterback. You can't wear the number 33 out there. It's just. I feel like it's just wrong.
Hey, if that's I don't even care about that. If that's the number you want, that's the number you want.
33 as a quarterback?
Hey, whatever.
I mean, I know it's like a stupid thing to sort of get up on, but that's where I draw the line, honestly. It's like
that's the hill you're dying on.
That's the hill I'm dying. It's like that Virginia quarterback a few years ago that he wore like 98. It's like, what are you doing? He was like Brennan Armstrong's backup, and they would bring in him for gadget plays and stuff. And it's like he's wearing number 98 out there, and it's like, you look ridiculous. I'm sorry, you genuinely look ridiculous. But
it used to be where they couldn't even do that. Like certain positions were designated certain numbers, and that's all that they were allowed to do.
Yeah, and then now you have linebackers like Malik Bryant wearing 24.
And I'll tell you something else I'm not a fan of, and USC did this for who was that West Virginia wide receiver they brought in last year? Oh Lord, I can't even think of his name.
West Virginia.
Anyway, yeah, they brought in that USC brought in that transfer. He was like the number 1 wide receiver in the country.
Are you talking about Jordan Addison?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came from Pitt.
Oh, was that Pitt? I thought it was West Virginia he came from.
Yeah, with where after Kenny Pickett left, he saw the writing on the wall and he said, "I'm
yeah,
getting the hell out of here."
when they let him at USC and they unretired, what was it, Carson Palmer's number, and he wore
3.
it. I'm not a huge fan of retiring numbers because you do that too many times, you're end up in triple digits. But if you do retire a number like that,
keep it retired.
Leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, listen, I'm actually surprised we haven't had some quarterback come out and want to wear 23 yet.
I mean, Bernie Kosar wore 20.
Yeah. That may have been by necessity back then, though, because we had 5 quarterbacks in that quarterback room when Kosar got there.
Yeah, it was Kelly, Richt,
Kosar, Testaverde.
Yeah. Pretty nice QB room, honestly.
I think there was probably one more in there that nobody knows the name of for a reason. But, I mean, I get it by necessity, but it is what it is.
Which, also, Mark Richt was at the stadium tonight. They were honoring him for being inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame. So, congrats to Coach Richt.
Yes, and he absolutely deserved it. And I'm going to point out how sad that was. I mean, that man has really taken a turn south in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Just know, Coach Richt, if you're sitting here on your Thursday night watching the Voice of College Football, we love you.
Hey, I'm a Mark Richt fan. Okay.
Oh no, I like Mark Richt.
Well, even beyond him, like being the Miami coach, like I have all the respect in the world for Bobby Bowden, because especially in college football now with the Bobby Petrinos and the Urban Meyers and the Hugh Freezes, like Bobby Bowden and Mark Richt were, and to me Dabo falls into this as well, are genuinely good people, and that's something I think you're getting less and less of out of head coaches. And I thought Mark Richt coming in would be an advantage because of all the problems Miami's had over the years. One thing you are going to get out of Mark Richt is a clean run program.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason when Bobby Bowden passed away, even Miami fans were showing their respect and appreciation for him so much.
Oh, sure. Listen, I mean, hate aside, because I get it, it's a rivalry, but Miami wouldn't have been what it was without Florida State.
Yep. Florida State might have a few more national titles if it weren't for us too. So.
Oh, that's why I say Alabama fans' second favorite team should absolutely be Miami, because nobody would be talking about Nick Saban if it wasn't for Miami. Because Bobby Bowden might have run off 15 national titles in a row.
Oh yeah. I mean, he didn't get his first until '93, and he was there since the mid '70s. How many times were they ranked in like the top 2 or 3, and then they ran into us and we knocked them off?
They finished top 5 15 years in a row. There's only 3 programs to ever do that.
Mm. We got more national titles, though, sucker. Give me 5 natties over your little 15-year streak. I don't care.
Listen, why do you think Florida dropped us off the schedule? Bobby Bowden has said it before. Yes, he would have won more national titles if he had dropped Miami off the schedule and had the opportunity to do.
Yeah, that's why we still have the Seminole War Canoe too.
I've never understood that. Why isn't that between us and Florida State? Why is that with us and Florida? I don't get it.
Because it started back in the day, but then they took us off the schedule. And I remember back in like 2019, they wanted the damn thing back, and our athletic program was like, "Put us back on the schedule, and we'll give you the trophy, because the trophy says the annual winner, but we don't play annually because you took us off."
Well, no, my point is I've never understood why that was the trophy for Miami, Florida. It seems more appropriate for Miami, Florida State.
I mean, we don't even have a trophy with Florida State.
No.
Oh my God.
Hmm?
Becky, look at her. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Making his 2023 debut, Brennan.
What's going on? Not a lot, man. Just sitting outside here, listening to you guys talk about how awesome we are. I mean, isn't it nice to actually be winning?
Sounds like a horrible night. You're listening to us. You're out there in the Keys on a Thursday and you have nothing better to do.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's getting late. You know, everybody's already in bed. So.
Holy shit! I gotta wake up at 5:30.
We actually went and watched the game at Jimmy Johnson's, and they turned the game off about 2 minutes into the third quarter. They closed the bar down. So I was pretty disappointed with that. Yeah.
How are you going to be at Jimmy Johnson's and they don't finish the team game?
You need to tweet Jimmy Johnson and let him know they turned off a Hurricanes game in the middle of it in his bar.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
You a bitch.
Yeah, right after they sold us a $20 drink, they said, "Oh, the bar's closed, so time to go." So, yeah.
Well, I know. I know you watched, part of tonight's game, and me and you talked. You watched last week's game. What do you think of the season so far?
I was really happy with I'm happy with the way the defense is really getting on the ball and really, trying this year. That seems to be a major improvement, and I like the play calling a lot better too. So, on the offense, but I got to go back. I mean, I haven't really watched these games like I need to. So,
right.
I mean, hey, the full replay is on the ACC YouTube channel. I caught it the other day of literally the whole game for Texas A&M and Miami, Ohio.
Both those whole games are on the ACC's YouTube channel.
Yeah. I need to watch them. Sorry if I sound like I'm in an echo. I'm on a porch out here.
No, you're good.
Yeah, you're fine. We can at least understand you, so that's good.
Yeah, but we're just talking about moving on for the next couple of weeks and how we're gonna go 300.
No, what we were really talking about is bitching about jersey numbers. That's what this whole post-game show divulged into. We went from talking about the game to jersey numbers, but yes, continue, Slim. I don't want to be misleading here.
Well,
back to football.
Well, I mean, I could go back to pitching a temper tantrum about them giving up a touchdown with 1:19 left.
Yeah, this team's going 3-9.
Time to burn it all to the ground.
I was saying it. There's already people. I had someone being like, "Why am I kind of nervous for this Temple game now? Do I have PTSD or something?" He's like, "Yes, you absolutely do. There's no reason you should be nervous playing against 3-9 Temple."
I understand it though, because there are Tennessee fans that are absolutely terrified about this weekend.
Why? They're going to beat them by 30.
Because you look over the past 15, they have not won at the Swamp since 2004.
Swamp's overrated. It's a dump.
Well, that's fine, but Tennessee hasn't won there. And I've absolutely seen Tennessee teams that were better than Florida go to the Swamp and lose.
Now, have you guys seen it's like the projected percentage they were saying after the game of Miami winning the rest of their games? Did you guys see that?
Yeah, we had at least a 60% chance in every game except for Florida State.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think against Georgia Tech we have an 85% chance.
Poor Sea-Dog.
I mean, let me see. I could rattle it off right now. Against Temple we have a 95. Georgia Tech, 89.5% chance. At North Carolina, 59.7. Clemson, 61. If you told me before this season that ESPN would give us a 62% chance to beat Clemson, I wouldn't have believed you.
I still don't know if I believe you telling me that, but
Well, I'm not buying into the. Listen, I get that everybody's acting like the world is ending for Clemson, and Dabo Sweeney has completely forgot what he's doing. I'm not buying into that.
Yeah, the only game they're giving us a chance to lose is Florida State, and it's a 73% chance for Florida State, which Slim has said it. I agree with it. That game's a toss-up every year, outside of a few exceptions.
I mean, blowouts are rare, so it's probably going to be a close game.
No, yeah, I'd bank on us. Like if they set that spread at 7.5, let's just say, I'd probably take us to cover.
Yeah, and I'd be honest with you, I'd probably take us to win that. If that spread is 7.5.
Bold hot take coming in from some Shady Canes.
Well, you look at the most important position on the field, quarterback. Does anybody actually think that Jordan Travis is a better quarterback than Tyler Van Dimes?
Yes, and it's a word I can't say on YouTube. I'll just put it in the private chat.
I mean, I know Florida State fans do, but I mean, if they're being serious, if they're being serious, I think first and foremost, you need to worry about Jordan Travis making it through a season. He has not played all 12 games in a season yet.
I mean, Florida State fans have picked us. Have said, like, I've seen them say it. They think they're going to score 50 on us. The game will be over after the first quarter. We're overrated, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's brain dead. But
you mean average Florida State fan? Yeah.
I mean, it's also it's the recency bias. Like, okay, you won by 45. I remember seeing us win by 45 just a couple of years ago, and then the very next season y'all beat us. So why is it all of a sudden completely impossible for Miami to go up to Tallahassee and win? I don't think so.
I mean, hey, they lost to Jacksonville State and then turned around and beat us in the same year.
Yep.
I mean, and I honestly thought we were going to blow them out that game too. After that, I was like, oh, they're done. We're going to win by 40.
Yeah, I never call that a win by 40. That's a pick 'em and likely to be a one-score game.
I mean, I think the FSU game is a toss-up every year, like Slim said, no matter what. But it'll be. I mean, going into the season, I thought if we won 8 games, I would be like ecstatic. Now I'm thinking we could win 9. So
yeah, that's kind of where I've gone exactly. My ceiling was at 8. I've kind of bumped it up to 9. Listen, there's a good chance
we could win 10, honestly.
You want to talk about getting back to a norm of college football? We could very well be rolling into November 11th with a top 10 showdown in Tallahassee. I mean, The 90s are coming back, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I said it to Brendan wasn't on the show last week, but I said it to you, Slim. You look at these next few games, we could not only start off 5-0, but then we have North Carolina. We could very well beat them. And then Clemson at home. There's a chance, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there is a chance that we could be 7-0. And then we play Virginia. We could be 8-0. There's a possibility, could be 8-0 going into the NC State game on the road the week before Florida State.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very real chance that we could end up, being a 10-2 team or an 11-1 team.
I mean, if this trend continues, like they're actually playing to their talent level, which they haven't done for quite some time. If that trend continues, at worst, they should be 7-1.
Yeah.
In that stretch you were just talking about. Because I can still realistically see a loss to Clemson. And would I be upset about it? Well, no. Clemson's the fourth most talented team in the nation.
I'd be really upset. I'm so tired of giving Pete $2 bills every year. So, yeah, but I really want to get one of those back. I need that, reciprocation there, to get something back from him. So,
I mean, I just want to finally beat him after losing by 40 every year to them.
Don't forget that 58-point loss.
We don't talk about that. We try not to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't think that actually happened.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, everybody was happy. That was the game that got Al Golden fired.
What game? He just disappeared.
Was he ever actually there to begin with?
I think near the end he was kind of just.
Yeah, maybe that was like a glitch in the Matrix or something. Like that didn't really happen.
It turns out we've actually been Alabama for the last 15 years. There's an alternate universe where we hired Nick Saban and we have 7 national titles now.
Well, 6. He's won 6 since he's been at Bama.
Yeah, he has 7 in total.
Yeah, that 7th one. Well, and that turned out to be the only split title of the BCS era, because, and I actually tend to agree with him that USC should have been there and probably would have clobbered that LSU team. God, those were some good USC teams. Now that I find it funny though, the AP didn't do that for us in 2000. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was bullshit. But there was also like Washington, I think, was also 11-1 that year, and they had beaten us.
Yeah, but they beat us in the season opener, but during the course of the season, we beat number 1 Virginia Tech and number 2 Florida State.
Yeah, we really did get hosed that year. We really could have had 3 national titles in a row, because you take that one, we would have destroyed that Oklahoma team. And then obviously 0-1. And then you look at 2002 with the whole Terry Porter thing. Like, there was a very real chance that Miami could have had 3 straight national titles. But whatever. I don't want to be that average Miami fan that all he does is talk about the past.
Right. How many times can we bring up pass interference? It wasn't pass interference.
Yeah, well, here's my answer to that. You never should have let the game be that close.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree. Totally agree.
Sorry, Mark. That Ohio State team had no business being on the field in a game that close against that team.
Well, no, you look at them that year. That they were. That Ohio State team was like our 2017 team. Like, they won every game by like a point. Every game was a heart attack for Ohio State fans that year.
I think there was one game they won 10-9 or something.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think it was against Purdue, if I'm remembering it right.
How much do you think Mark Rogers paid those refs for that pass interference call?
You think that's where it came from? Yeah,
I do. I think Mark Rogers sent him.
Yeah, they won 23-19 at Cincinnati, 19-14 at Wisconsin, 13-7 against Penn State, 10-6 at Purdue. At Illinois, they won 23-16 in overtime, and then beat Michigan 14-9. If that's not Big Ten football, then I don't know what is.
Well, that was also early 2000s football.
Yeah, Jesus, 10-6.
Don't forget 2003, because I went to the 2002 Miami-Tennessee game because I had already moved up to Tennessee at that point. 2003 was like 10-6.
10-6 is like an exciting youth soccer game.
It's an exciting baseball game.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Jesus. No, but what really gets me about this Ohio State team The week they beat Purdue on the road 10-6, they were ranked number 2, and they still ranked them number 1 the next week. Which, whatever, like, I know it doesn't matter now 21 years later, but like I just find that crazy.
We're gonna have people, typical Miami fans, talking about 21 years ago.
I mean, it's just funny. Like, how do you barely avoid an upset, and then you have the defending champions on like a 30-game win streak, and you're like, you know what? Put them on number 1.
Yeah, but you know what though? I mean, what you actually can tie that into today because the AP poll is still just as bad today.
Remember Cincinnati ranked number 2 in the country like 3 years ago? Just because they beat underachieving Notre Dame team.
Yeah, I still say and this is a hill I'll die on. UCF had a better argument to get in the playoffs in 2018 than Cincinnati did in what was that 21?
Yeah, I mean the whole thing is that UCF that year they didn't beat like a Power 5 team, I think, or at least like a very good one.
I understand.
Cincinnati over the top is that they beat a top 10 ranked Notre Dame team on the road.
Yes, and I understand that. But UCF went undefeated in 17, beat Auburn in the bowl game, and then went undefeated all the way through 18.
Yeah.
So they were on what is that, 12, 13.
I mean, they did beat a
they were on
Power 5 team.
They were on a 27-game win streak.
They beat Maryland on the road in 2017. And then 2018, they got to. Yeah, they were number 8 going into that game against LSU. This could have been good. They had a game at North Carolina. Oh, no, wait, this is when North Carolina went like 1-11 or something, so Mac Brown wasn't even there yet, but it was canceled.
Yeah, that was that same year LSU and Texas A&M went to like 17 overtimes.
Yeah. And LSU finished like they were supposed to finish 10-2, but then they finished 9-3 because of that. Yeah.
Hey, at least that was an exciting overtime game. I mean, you look at we won in what 5 overtimes last year, 14-12.
We got in the end zone one time. It was on a 2-point conversion.
So what do we do this? We play Temple next, right?
Yes, we have Temple next, bye week, and then we get into ACC play. We open it up with
the Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech.
So Temple has Manny Diaz right now.
I think Al Golden still might be there. Man, that's so weird. We have a little bit of a history with Temple there. Al Golden and Manny.
Golden and Manny. I guess it's kind of appropriate we're playing Temple.
I mean, I already told you the reason we're going on the road. It's because we took Manny. That's why we're playing there.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, we should win that one pretty big.
They should be sending us a thank you card.
Yeah. I mean, let me see. How's Temple doing this year? So they got smacked by Rutgers 36-7. That's nice. And then they have a Friday game tomorrow against Norfolk State at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. on a Friday?
Yeah, there's going to be about 6 people in the stands.
Now, yeah. I get people like to troll on the internet, and there was a whole lot more people at that A&M game.
Oh, okay, no, I'm dumb. It's because it's already midnight. It's 2 p.m. Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I was saying tomorrow, because we're in Saturday now. Okay, no, it's 2 p.m. on. Yeah, I was about to say, Jesus Christ, who scheduled that game?
Now I know their official number for the A&M game was like 48,000 or something, but like that place legit looked empty tonight.
Yeah, I was there. Apparently, it said there was 40,000. There was not 40,000 people there. But then again, it's a Thursday night. It's Bethune Cookman. This game was doomed from the moment it was scheduled.
Well, and I'm not sure that I think no matter what they do, I'm not sure that's something that they can ever completely fix. I mean, people haven't been showing up for the terrible teams we play, like the Temples and the Bethune Cookmans.
I mean, they showed
People
up
haven't been,
last year against Bethune Cookman. There was 56,000 people there.
but I'm just saying in general, people haven't been showing up for those games since the mid '90s.
Yeah, I mean, my mind flashes back to we played, I think, forget who it was in 2001, and like we're just whooping them like 50-0 or whatever it was, and they just crowd to the stands of the Orange Bowl, and there's like almost no one there.
I think it was Rutgers. I think I know what you're talking about. I think it was Rutgers.
Yeah, I think we beat Rutgers like 56-0, and that's a conference game at that point because they were in the Big East. Yeah, let me see. I think it was Rutgers the week after we played Penn State. Yeah, Rutgers, we beat them 61-0. Attendance was 39,000 people. And then Troy State attendance was 36,000. West Virginia 44,000. And then we did play Temple, 31,000. The only few games that were actually full were Syracuse with 52,000 and then a sellout against Washington.
So, I mean, that's my point, though. You can even go back to the last time that they were on top of the college football world. They still weren't selling out. And people don't like it. For some reason, only Miami catches flack for this. USC doesn't, and they have the exact same problem.
UCLA, too.
Whether people like it or not, there's a whole lot more competition for your entertainment dollar in Miami versus Athens, Georgia.
Yeah. Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have people like me who, I make it to games in Miami when I can, but I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm 18 hours away.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Like, I mean, when you have an undergrad of like 11,000 versus a school like Florida State where they have just triple that, I mean, like, you can't really compete with that.
Well, and something else that doesn't help, and I should have taken a screenshot of this, but like people were posting online like the Thursday before the A&M game, they had tickets for like $60. Okay, but Monday the tickets were still like 120 to 130 for upper deck, which is more than a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
Brett, I don't know where they were getting these tickets because we actually looked at those tickets that morning, and I don't know, maybe there was some kind of deal that was going on, and
because the school itself was selling them for that much. It was on the secondary market that they were actually going for cheaper, surprisingly.
Okay.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, and that's the reason why I get season tickets, because there's these big games that I do want to end up going to. Like, you look at Florida State last year, and for where I sit, I pay $500 for the year for season ticket. I get 7 games for $500, and that Florida State game alone by itself, if you wanted to buy those tickets secondhand market, because it was already sold out from the school, it was like $350.
Right.
So it's either I go to that one game, or I just pay for the season tickets, and not everyone's going to do that. So it's like you do eventually get people where they're like, hey, we should go to the Miami game. And then they look at it and it's like, man, screw that. I'm not a big fan anyways. I'll just go spend this at the club or whatever, or at the bars.
Oh, there's bars in Miami?
Believe it or not.
Right.
There's a couple.
There's 2.
2.
But
Keg South and Keg North.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I'll watch the game at Hooters.
Yeah, I mean, those tickets can still be kind of ridiculously high, and there are other things that you can just do for cheaper.
Yeah. I think we pretty much covered everything about an hour ago.
Right. Bethune Cookman.
Yeah, there's only so much you can get into with them.
I mean, at least it's not like last year where I was complaining about trying to contain the mobile quarterback, and then that ended up biting us. We looked good tonight.
I mean, that mobile quarterback got away a couple of times, but
yeah, I mean, but against third stringers.
Dude, I think that, did you see the shot? Well, you were there. There were a couple times they shot to a guy in the stands, in full pads and jersey and everything.
I know.
I think they put him out on the field there at the end.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard. They were saying it on the broadcast, the whole story behind why he does it, and it's actually pretty cool.
Well, I got 3 screaming kids, so I just tend to have the volume turned down, the subtitles on.
Yeah, it's because of his brother who he was close to, who was also disabled, passed away. So since 2009, he's been wearing the full pads and gear to honor him. It's just a cool story.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's literally every game. He's out there, and he's also matching with what the team's wearing. If they wear orange, he wears orange. If they wear some special Miami Nights jersey or something, he matches it. So it's full commitment, and it's just cool to see.
Can we quit doing that? Because now, I mean, we've got 3 iterations of it. Let's do some throwbacks. We haven't done that since 05.
I mean, our base uniform is basically throwbacks.
Well, I mean, not really. They just went back to the classic design. I mean, 05, go back to the green and gold with the hurricane flags on the helmet.
Can we get the bat wings? I want the bat wings back from the early 2000s.
Bat wings?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
The 01 uniforms, man, with these.
Oh God, I am not a fan of those 01 jerseys.
Hold up. I got them right here.
And that's going to be a very unpopular opinion, I know.
I like it, man. I got my Andre Johnson here. I got Kenny Dorsey green in the closet.
You don't like those, Slim? You don't like those jerseys?
No, I didn't like them.
Yeah, if you didn't get already enough hate on the internet, there's more coming your way, buddy. I'm sorry.
No.
Yes, Slim hasn't had enough hate on YouTube thrown it his way in the past 3 or 4 years. So he needs more of it. Yeah, hey, does this mic sound better now?
No, you sound good.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never used this damn thing before, so just trying to figure it out.
You don't have the usual setup, but you're making do.
All right, cool.
But yeah, like I said, we pretty much. You good? What the hell? Okay. We pretty much covered everything an hour ago against the powerhouse that is Bethune Cookman. So
the juggernaut.
Juggernaut themselves.
Hey, we all know it's coming. If the comment sections aren't flooded tonight, they will be tomorrow. Why did we score 90?
It's already happening on Twitter. Everything comes first on Twitter.
Well, one of the things I thought was really funny was as soon as we won with Texas A&M, the predictable Texas A&M is no good was instantly thrown out there. Right before that, it was there's no way Miami's going to beat Texas A&M. They don't have the talent. And then it was instantly, Texas A&M sucks.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's hilarious.
Whatever. We got the win. We've gotten some good recruiting pickups this week. Specifically today, Armando Blunt, 5-star defensive lineman out of Miami Central, class of 2025. But there is the rumor, apparently, that he's looking to reclassify for this recruiting class. So hopefully, you're going to look out for that.
They need to, because they're still sitting somewhere around 15th. And now, granted, I think they're going to get some help with that, because if I'm right about how terrible Florida really is, that recruiting class is liable to fall apart.
They already had their first decommit.
They've had 2.
Well, and I mean, here's the reality of it. If we go out there and do better than we were expected to do, our recruiting class is going to go up. I mean, we got nothing but the ceiling as long as we win some football games.
I mean, yeah, pretty much the floor with Mario is top 15.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, Cam, like I said, people like Cam keep up with recruiting much more than I do because he has the patience for it. But I mean, Mario's missed out on several key guys that they were going for this year.
Yeah, and it's pretty much because they already, they're pretty much just saying like, oh, I'm wait and see with Miami. Like, I don't know if they're there yet. But, we actually have results on the field now, so.
It's flip season.
Yep.
Right. Nobody wants to, jump on a sinking ship. As long as we, win a couple of these games we weren't supposed to win and do better than the pundits and everybody said that we were supposed to do, I think that the recruiting is going to go up.
You know what could really do recruiting some good? Beating Florida State at Tallahassee. And that could really do wonders.
Or Clemson. I mean, either one. If we could just get one more staple win this season.
Maybe both.
Oh, my God. And
I'm not going
we'd
there,
lose to one of those horrible teams on our schedule.
Right.
How Miami would it be,
If we lose to Georgia Tech, Brennan's jumping on the stream in a drunken stupor.
Hey, we're gonna beat
Again.
Florida State and Clemson. We're gonna beat Florida State and Clemson. We're gonna lose to Duke again.
Well, we don't play.
We don't play Duke. Thank God.
Oh, we miss out on Duke. Hallelujah.
We'll play Boston College though and lose them with an 11-0 season on the line. It'll be 2017 all over again.
Okay, well.
All we had to do was overcome Pitt. That's all we had to do.
Yeah,
listen, that team was what it was. Okay, you're only getting so far with Malik Rozier. Stop it.
You know what? History is whatever I can make it to be. If Brad Kyle was the quarterback, we would have won the national championship. Just saying. And if Mark Walton stayed healthy, we'd have ring number 6 already.
I don't know about all that. I ain't saying we would have beat Alabama.
I do. I've seen the light.
I've seen the light, and it burns.
Hey, one thing I got to give us credit for is of all these post-game shows on Mark Rogers, I think we have the most fun.
Oh, by far. Like, especially if you go over there with those Oregon goobers. I don't know what to do with them. I really don't.
Oh, jeez.
Especially Ben.
Oh, Ben. Where's Ben at?
All right, I'm going to end the show now before Slim pisses more people off. Good night, everyone. Go Canes.
I love you guys.
Night, Ben.
Good night, Ben.